Hello and welcome to an Infinity Game Considerations video. I think this is my first for N5. Today's video I will be discussing the tactical support cards for the Infinity Tournament Season 17 and if they remain in the document for future seasons. I will cover what the current tactical support cards are currently, briefly talk about some of the reasons why they are not liked, and offer my own ideas of what I would like them to be. The concept of tactical support cards was to help negate some of the problems faced by players during competitive play. The most common and obvious one is fouling multiple orders to complete a scenario skill. We have all been there. You move a specialist trooper into silhouette contact with a mission piece, such as a console, and need to pass a whip roll to activate it. You spend 1 or 2 orders moving there, then spend 3 or 4 orders trying to pass your whip roll, with the outcome either as a success or failure on your 4th order. This leaves a player with less orders to continue the mission for the remainder of the active turn. Another consideration for the advent of tactical support cards was to offer players with tools to help mitigate negative situations by providing pieces of equipment to reduce the negative effects and to prevent a player from being locked out of completing the mission. Speedball does this quite well, but the tactical support cards fail in this regard. First, I will go through each of the cards and read the rules. I have included photographs of the cards to help players recognize the tactical support option. So for the first card, the effects are: the player may apply the reroll modification to a skill with a scenario skill. It is a single use only, and it is used after failing a roll. So this is obviously used when you push a specialist trooper to a mission objective. Spend an order, you activate it, you fail that passing roll, so then you can apply this and go, yep, I'll do a reroll. But you only get it once for the whole game. Next, for this card, the player gains an automatic success when rolling for a skill with a scenario for the scenario label, and it is single use. So you do this before making the roll. So you move that trooper into contact with a mission objective, declare the card is going to be used, and then make the roll, and even if you fail it, you still pass. It's an automatic success. Well, sorry, you don't need to make the roll because it's automatic, so you just say, yep, I'm going to activate this, and throw the card down, and you've activated it. Next, a specialist trooper may apply the reroll mod to skills with a scenario label. So this is the one where it applies throughout the whole game, and after deployment phase and in initiative order, you choose which specialist trooper from your list has this effect during the game. So this is probably the most useful tactical support card currently. Next is a wild card. You can choose any result from the chart, and when you draw this, you can say, yep, I have the wild card, and then you can pick what you want, and it's most likely going to be the card previously before this one. Next, a specialist trooper of the player's choice has the sensor special skill, and now this can be quite useful for sure, especially against camo heavy troopers. And again, after deployment in initiative order, you choose which specialist trooper you want to have this effect during the game. Next, any trooper that you have in your army can have the specialist operative special skill. So it doesn't have to be a specialist per se, but let's just say it is a very fast combat successful trooper. You may want to give them this so you can fight and move up and push a button. So it ends up taking an active shooter and making it a multi-role trooper by completing objectives. And again, you choose this after deployment in initiative order, and you delegate which trooper has this special operative special skill. Next, a specialist trooper of the player's choice has a medikit. Unsure why exactly. I mean, sometimes you cannot always have doctors and engineers in your list, so any other specialist trooper such as a fort observer or hacker or specialist operative or chain of command may have this. It can be useful. Same again for this card, except it's a gizmo kit this time. This one cancels an enemy tactical support option, and this is declared at the end of the deployment phase. And there's a lot of controversy around this because if you have a good card that you would like and your opponent has this, they can just throw this down and cancel yours, and it sort of makes the whole process redundant. and unnecessary. A specialist trooper of the player's choice has a Blitzen. Nothing wrong with a disposable EM weapon. And again, it's selected after deployment in initiative order, and they have it for the entire game. So even if you do have a baggage bot, you can reload it. Same again, but this time an adhesive launcher, but it's only on specialist troopers. And this one, the lieutenant gains a +1 whip for the initiative roll, and you declare that during the initiative. So before you roll off for the other lieutenant's roll, you throw the card down and say, yep, my lieutenant has +1 whip. May be useful to hide the lieutenant. So if you have a range of lieutenant options with, say, whip 12, 13, and 14, if you have a whip 12 trooper, it makes it look like a whip 13, or a whip 13 trooper makes it look like a whip 14, but then it sort of comes, over time it comes with experience who has that option, that whip power on their troopers available, and you can sort of somewhat get away with it, but I don't think +1 makes much of a difference to the initiative roll. So, some reasons they are not used. I have spoken to some players in the Western Australia Infinity community at my last tournament and during previous casual games. The conversation regarding tactical support cards solidifies on a few key ideas. Mainly, it is an unnecessary step added during tournament games. Before deploying one's army on the table, there are a few steps that need to be done. They are: arrive at the table and introduce yourself, know the mission, know your opponent's faction, shuffle and select classifieds that are required for your mission, and select your list you want to play and provide a courtesy list to your opponent, then you roll for initiative, and then finally you deploy your army. Selecting tactical support cards slots in after a player chooses which list they want to play with. This does not include the players quickly assessing the table and discussing some issues with the terrain that needs to be agreed upon before playing, and it just takes up more time. Along with the first point, most cards do not offer anything that catches their interest. There are a few cards that players really would like to draw, namely the ones that allow for mods to rolling for scenario skills. But the remaining cards are nothing to think about, such as the cards that offer equipment, or the one that cancels your opponent's card. And finally, cards that are drawn, apart from the ones that offer good bonuses to specialist troopers when completing scenario skills, have little to no effect during the game to a player. So, with that, I have thought about some ideas for the tactical support options that may entice players to want to use for their games. And I kept my thoughts focused along the tactical support idea. So the next lot of cards will be my ideas for what I think the tactical support cards are. This is just, theorizing, offering up ideas, spitballing. This is just my opinion, my thoughts, take it or leave it. But I'll go through my ideas and what I think may help. Just add a bit of spice, a bit of flavor, something interesting to the game, and trying to make the tactical support cards a lot more useful than what they are currently. So for the first card, it has requirements. So you have to have failed the initiative roll, you have to have kept deployment, and your opponent must have given you the second turn. So the effects of this card is by spending 1 command token during strategic phase, a player may place 2 troopers in suppressive fire state, and it is used after spending a command token for strategic use. Next, the requirements for this is the player must have won the initiative roll and have chosen to keep initiative and have given themselves the first turn. And this allows a player to cancel the effect of removing 2 regular orders from their order pool, and it is used after deployment and after your opponent spends a command token for strategic use. Next, there's some requirements for this one. You must have won the initiative roll, kept initiative, and have the first turn, and you cannot have any troopers with a strategic or special skill. And this allows the player to hold a second trooper in reserve during deployment without spending a command token. So normally you have 4 command tokens One has to be spent beforehand before you can deploy, and you must say that you want to keep a second in reserve. And then a lot of the times people will deploy a second command token for Speedball. So you're down four tokens essentially. Whereas this card will offer you the ability to keep another trooper in reserve, but still keeping 4 command tokens. And if you do choose to have Speedball, you have 3 for the game. And it is declared during the deployment phase. Well, before the deployment phase. This one, quite simple. One specialist trooper applies a +1 special die mod to a skill with a scenario label. And standard rules, it is declared after deployment in initiative order, and you choose which specialist trooper you want to have, and this applies this effect during the entire game. Next, this is my what I call the orbital strike card. So the requirement is you have no troopers with a ballistic skill attack guided weapons in their profile, and you must not be in a loss of lieutenant state. And so the effect is during the game, by spending only 1 lieutenant special order and using the lieutenant's whip at a -3, you can call down a single BS attack guided against an enemy trooper in targeted state. Now this can only be used in the active turn, and you can only use 1 lieutenant special order. So troopers with 2 cannot use 2, it is only just 1. And your opponent does have the option to face using reset or dodge as per the normal rules. And this idea was just sparked by the fact that you cannot always have everything good in your list. And sometimes, if the dice are not going away, this is just another option to have to just deal with an opponent's heavy ARA piece. Next, a specialist trooper applies the operational learning to scenario skills. And this is declared after deployment and initiative order, and you just choose which specialist trooper you want to have this during the entire game. Operational learning is quite a useful skill, however it is not in all missions, it is only in some. I think they're mainly in the direct action missions and one of the new missions. Can't remember which one off the top of my head. Next, a trooper using the Doctor special skill can automatically reroll at a whip -3 without spending a command token, and you use it after failing a roll, but only once per game. This is the card to sort of mitigate having a medikit. If you have a doctor, it makes them a bit more useful. Same again, but this time it's an engineer special skill. Auto reroll with a whip -3 without spending a command token, and again, once per game after failing your initial engineer roll. Now you can still spend more command tokens if you wish, but this just gives you the opportunity to not spend one. And if you fail that one, well then you can spend it again, as per the normal rules. A wild card, so I kept this in there because why not? And it allows you to pick whatever you want. So once you pick your list, you can decide what you may want, and hopefully this will draw attention to some of the opportunities available. This card, a trooper gains the forward deployment +8 special skill, and this is just a trooper, not a specialist, a trooper. This one, an Evo hacker can use 2 supportware programs when spending a single regular order. You can only spend it during an active turn, and you can only spend it once per game, because I thought it might be a bit too overpowered if you could do it every turn. And plus it gives Evo hackers a bit more of a incentive to be taken. Not much, but more than they have now. This card, it cancels all isolated, immobilized A, immobilized B states for allied troopers in a player's list. Now you use this one at the start of the turn during the tactical phase. So when it becomes your turn again, and you have that phase where you check retreat, loss of lieutenant, etc., this is when you can use it. Because we all know it takes forever to pass a reset on a roll of a 1. And this helps prevent some players having their troops locked out of the entire game. So, what do you think? Are my ideas overpowered? Are they interesting enough for you? And do they provide options that you would like to use to help you out in your games? So these are only my ideas, and I'm sure other players have ideas they would like, and please share them down below in the comments. I'm interested in reading your thoughts regarding the tactical support cards. If you would like to experiment with my ideas and apply them to your next few games, then you have my permission to do so. Try them out and see how they work and let me know. Putting them into practice is the only way to learn if they are valid or not. So this is the end of the video. Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and as always, the dice decide the outcome.